Okay, it's recording now. Okay. Hi guys, my name is Jessica Villarreal. I'm health coach and I have my friend Jenna with us today. We will talk about a common topic, and we will take this through simple form or explain the simple form that you never see before. Um, and this is about relationship with food. As a health coach, I'm very curious in how especially women see the relationship with food. We don't really understand some topics about how the food affect us or heal our body. So I'm so excited to introduce my friend Jenna, and she is here to explain her own experience, and she called this fast eating disorder. And she is so happy to share with us how she went through this and feel 100% recovered today. Jenna, welcome. Thanks for being here. Introduce yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Jenna Saccurato. I am 28 years old and currently live in Miami Beach, Florida. I am also a health coach as well, life/health coach. And I also was a professional dancer for 6 years in New York City. I danced my entire life, was very into, of course, the arts, and I still am. But yeah, I'm really excited to be here and talk about this topic that I think, especially amongst women, is a lot more frequent or noticeable or just present, a lot more present than we actually all know. I think maybe almost every woman has probably went through a moment where they have poor body image or poor relationships to food. So, and men, of course, as well. But I do think it's more natural or prominent in women. So I'm excited to talk about this topic. So thanks for bringing me on. Thanks for bringing me here today.
Awesome. Okay, let's start with the first question. How was
Okay.
your relationship with food in the past?
Yeah, I think this is just you guys ready? It's a long conversation, but um, pretty much for as long as I can remember, I never really had a positive body image. So like even when I was a little girl, I remember just always kind of looking at myself in the mirror and not liking what I see, and um wishing I looked a certain way and wanting my body to be different and just like being very uncomfortable in my skin. Um, so from pretty early on, I developed like very weird, obviously, relationship to food, either labeling things as like good or bad, or right or wrong, and healthy and unhealthy. And because of this like belief and story I was telling to myself about food, of course, that was distorting from the actual uh, fact and image of like what food really is. So I started to really, have either just my main thing was that like when the problem really became like a problem, because for I mean, I started dance when I was 2, and I think I remember being like I don't know, 5 or 7, probably around there, and being in the dance studio with other girls, and like other girls that were just naturally very thin. And especially I was studying ballet, and for ballet dancers, you had to look a certain way. And still today, you do need to look a certain way, but it's not as frail and thin. But back then, it really was like, you need to look a certain way to get a job, to make it like aesthetically pleasing. So when it became a real issue is probably in high school, around that middle school, high school. And that's when I really started to really restrict myself, eating very, very little amounts of food. I also, if I did overeat, I didn't have the binging, like psycho binging, where I know some people like binge till they really like feel super sick and like ate like the whole house or something. I didn't do that, but I would overeat. I wouldn't call it like a full binge. I would for sure overeat. And if I felt I would overeat, I definitely also threw up. So I was, I binged, I was anorexic, I was bulimic. I also took diet pills, many, many diet pills. I took laxatives, abused laxatives. Um, so I'm pretty sure I did everything. And it was definitely a really dark time. But I think if we're specifically talking about the relationship with food, it was obviously a very poor one. I didn't see it as, I saw it as such a negative. You eat too much or you don't eat the right thing, you're going to gain weight. It was always like, if you're not eating properly, like it equals bad weight. And then not, you know, and that being like very scary to me, or would really fill me with anxiety, like if I was going to gain weight, or if I knew I ate too much that one day, like that I was going to gain weight, or like just, yeah, that's probably, I hope that there's so much to this, so I hope that answered your question with like my relationship with food. It was horrible. It was really bad. I saw it as a no, like I shouldn't eat it all, just shouldn't eat.
All right. Yeah, I can understand. It's simple respond to all you're going through because it's a lot. But I can understand. And you touched the point about when you were dancing and see the order
Hmm.
others. So you think this is a star because you start compares yourself with others?
um Definitely. But I think if I want to go real, real deep, um, you compare yourself to other people because you already have like a void and a hole within yourself. So some people that compare, that are jealous, that are competitive, and yeah, have those types of qualities. It's because you have such a low self-worth and self-esteem within yourself already. So I wouldn't say it started with the comparison. I would say I was so insecure and had such a low self-esteem about my body and about who I was as an individual, that then the comparing of course came from that. Because again, if someone has low self-esteem, hates themselves, is insecure, you're going to react in ways of jealousy, competitiveness, comparison,
Okay.
if that kind of makes sense. So if you're, then it goes, oh, so then where did the insecurity start, or why did the insecurity start? And I think, there are situations, I went through some childhood traumas that really kind of scarred me and kind of already knocked me down a peg, let's say, and made me think I'm less than and not valuable, and made me already have my pretty much, my body was like used against me. And so I had already this horrible relationship to my body, and it being gross and it being bad. And I think because of that, that was one thing. And then also having certain influences in my life, and seeing role models, or people that are supposed to be role models, that had a horrible eating habit as well, or like, really overly restricted, or talked about being skinny all the time. It was really embedded into my mind about like, working out all the time, making sure you're healthy, making sure you look a certain way. So having already those like ideologies and beliefs taught to me, and then I of course re-embedding them by believing in them and applying them to my life every single day. You go into an industry like the arts or something where your image is very important, it's only going to make it worse. So all over the years of dancing, that type of um, thought, I don't like the word mindset. So that type of ideology and beliefs and stories that I had towards food and towards your body only got worse with the career that I was chasing.
Okay. Okay. So when you do you have overweight before with this situation, or it was just mentally or physical you did some point of be
Did I gain weight? I was overweight?
yes, if you was over,
Oh,
or it was just mentally physical, how was your body, and or it was just mentally that you feel and you will gain weight, that's why you did this.
yeah. I don't think I was ever, if someone, that's a hard question to answer because if I'm thinking back to if I'm the Jenna right now, looking back on the younger Jenna and the old Jenna, I would say no, she was never overweight, like seriously overweight. I think when I first recovered, when I had my like first moment of recovery from an eating disorder, I did gain a lot of weight back fast because I was finally eating again. And I would say I got to like not an overweight place, but chunkier for sure. And not toned or not, you didn't have this like athletic look. And that was really kind of the thing for me that um, really that was one of the biggest actually healing differences, what defining what I wanted to look like. But if I'm going based off of what I wanted to look like back then, I thought I was overweight. Was I? No. But I mean, I believed that. Yeah, it's body dysmorphia. You look in the mirror and you don't see the way you actually look. So I think I hope that answers like it's interesting. I never thought of that question. I've thought about this a lot, but I never thought like, oh, was I overweight? And um again, there were moments where I did get chunkier, had obviously weight fluctuation, so did gain weight, but no, I was never like an obese human being ever.
I ask you this because I know your body, and right now it's beautiful, and she is like, toned, and it looks so athletic. If somebody asks me, Jenna has, be overwhelmed some point, I cannot believe that your body looks right now. But I know this is a mental issue as well, and I've never been there, so that's why I ask you. I never uh, talk about this because that was not my past, right? Thinking like I looks overweight or I feeling
Yeah.
is those two totally different things. I looks overweight, or I feeling overweight, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And let me ask you, so for you, for example, how you see a piece of bread compares to a salad in the past? You think both uh, weren't acceptable for you to eating? You reject every kind of food, even healthy or unhealthy? And that point, you know what was healthy?
Um I grew up with a very healthy mom. My mother is very into fitness and health, and maybe I think that's also where it kind of stemmed from, like wanting to look a certain way and be a certain way too. My mother is very small, very in shape, and works out all the time, eats healthy. Um, so I definitely know what healthy food was, and I think the biggest difference or the biggest kind of like issue right now in the health industry is that people say they know what healthy foods are, but they don't know how to eat them, how much to eat of them, and what to eat with them. So, or they also don't know what really healthy food is. But yeah, no, definitely back then wouldn't eat. I would definitely say a piece of bread was bad compared to a salad. I would definitely think that way back then. Um, I was eating very pretty much the same thing every day. Like, didn't really want to like stray. I was very strict or not strict, stubborn, and I would only eat certain things a certain way. You couldn't use a lot of butter to cook. If they touched, I would like have a legit panic attack, like a panic attack. I would eat like an apple. I think people, if anyone knows this and knew me during that time, will know that I did this. I would eat an apple. It would take me like an hour or like an hour and a half. I would eat it so slowly. It would be like I would make it like a meal.
Wow.
And why? The slower you eat, the more, and this is also just true, and we all should be chewing a lot more and eating slower. But the slower you eat, the more full you are. And if I'm eating one apple and it takes me so long to eat, it's like I'm making it more than what it actually is. I'm tricking myself that I'm eating a lot if it takes me a long time to eat it. If that makes sense. But that's kind of why anorexic people or people usually with eating disorders, I also like cut things very, very bite sized. Like I just would take a really long time to eat everything. So again, I wouldn't eat a lot. And so making it more of like, oh, this is such a big meal. This one apple took me an hour and a half to eat. It's like, oh, I ate a lot, you know? It was that weird, I mean, horrible, horrible, horrible mindset. But that's, yeah.
Okay. Let's, before to jump to the finally part, I will say and ask you how you recover and how was your process to recover and be where you are right now. I would like to ask,
Yeah.
um, give us an example of what you eat during one day.
When I had a problem.
Yes. How was
Okay.
how was your typical day? What you did and what you eaten?
Um, I don't remember really eating breakfast ever, or if I did, it would be like the apple. I would do the apple thing, or maybe really nothing, or maybe egg whites, like maybe. But I think I really didn't have breakfast. Then at lunch at like school, I would either have that apple again, or I would do like a yogurt, or God, I'm like really blanking on the lunch thing. For some reason, I like just really remember what dinner was, and I don't remember what I did during the day because I think I literally like probably wouldn't eat till like dinner some days. Like I would just not eat at all or have some nuts. I definitely like ate nuts, but again, these are very small portions, like things you should not do. I'm not saying anything anyone should do anything. So or have like yeah, like little nuts or yogurt, like one yogurt, maybe an apple. That would be like lunch or something. Then I would come home and again I may have like some rice cakes. I loved rice cakes, still do, but not in an unhealthy way. I would have like a rice cake and then dinner I would usually have like a piece of grilled chicken and broccoli and that one piece of grilled chicken, like just that, like, small, cut it up into the smallest pieces in the world, take an hour and a half to eat it. Same thing with the broccoli on the side, just a small little portion. Um, and that was kind of my day. I think there was definitely some days where I probably ate like one thing, like just had an apple and nothing else. And on usually on those days, or if I didn't eat for an entire day, the next day I probably would have like a binge episode. Like one time like those like family size bags of trail mix.
Yeah.
I ate one of them, like a whole one. Like that's a lot and it definitely hurt my stomach for sure. So that would be because if I like had over restricted, obviously, then your body's just like starving. So I'm trying to think other things that I ate, but I almost don't even want to like say too many things that I ate because I don't want people to get ideas of like, oh, I should do that. Don't do any of that. And Jessica knows now how much food I eat, so I think it's funny.
We always connect and she's eating. But no, our intention here
Like food.
100%, we are not give any tips or anything like that. We're just talking,
Yeah.
and Jenna have been in this in the past. She's 100% recovered, and we are here to tell you that you can heal yourself as well. As
Yes. Yes.
just to
Yeah.
empower you, if you connect with Jenna's story, you can relate and say, "This is me. How can I go through this?" And the other part I want to talk, Jenna, is how the ladies right there seeing your story, maybe they are um, they are not recognized yet that they have a situation, they have a problem.
Mm,
So
yeah.
help them to
Yeah.
identify that they have a problem, they need help.
I think kind of the key things, because I know there's a lot of, I've done obviously a lot of research on this topic, and there's a lot of studies that say like 97% of women don't like their body. And so honestly, I think right there, like if you're someone that like looks in the mirror and has like a horrible thought about yourself, like I think that's a form of eating disorder. It doesn't need to be as extreme as mine. And also there's obviously people that have had more intense cases than I did as well. Um, but there's all levels of it. So I think like honestly, like really normalizing the fact that having a negative thought about your body is not okay. That's not healthy. Like looking in the mirror, like I now look in the mirror, I dance naked in the mirror every single day, first of all, and literally like tell myself I love myself because like I do. And I honestly feel that way. And I don't feel guilty ever after eating anything, even the days where, I indulge. I don't have that guilty feeling. If that's also another thing, that's another really key identifier. Like if you eat or drink something and immediately after the next day like feel really guilty, that's a slight bit of an eating disorder. That's not healthy. That needs to be addressed. Um, Another thing is like if you don't like going out to eat with your friends, or like when you're with your friends you order the healthier thing, but really when you're alone you'll eat like a lot more. Like that's not healthy. That's a unhealthy relationship to food, an unhealthy relationship to your body. um Another thing is also like, oh, when you try on clothes, like when you try on clothes, are you always just looking at like if it's really flattering, if your fat's sticking out, if oh, I can't wear this with my belly or my armpit fat, or I really wish I could fit into that dress anymore. And like again, I think anything that has a bad association with and brings up a thought that your body is horrible, you don't like the way you look, you don't feel value in yourself, you like every time you're eating food, you're like, is this good or not? Like you feel guilty after you eat. Um, you're also like, in general, very insecure of your body, no matter the size. That's a form of a body image disorder, body dysmorphia, eating disorder. So, um, eating disorders obviously when you really like uh don't eat, overeat, throw up. Body dysmorphia is another one where like maybe you're eating healthy, you're fueling your body, but again, like I said, you look in the mirror and it makes you want to cry or gives you anxiety, or you won't go out because you feel like you look fat, and you won't go try on clothing at a store because you think you're fat, and you use those types of words like fat, I look fat, and like this types of language. Like, so I think there's like body dysmorphia is a little, some, like I said, some people could have like they could eat, fuel themselves enough, not be like starving or under eating or overeating, but they have horrible thoughts about the way that they look. And so I do think it needs to be addressed. It's just like, what is a healthy thought towards food and a healthy thought towards your body? And then all of these things, like if you do identify with that, and there's many other examples I could give, but it equates to your life, it equates to your self-value, and it equates to what your life actually becomes. So if you're not able to fully like fall in love with yourself and fully build that whole relationship with yourself, your life and all of the outside stuff that we care way too much about is going to directly mirror and reflect what our inside world is. So our inside world is directly reflected and mirrored by our outside world. So I think those are some ways to identify it. And you don't have to live. I just want to say this: you don't have to live with hating your body, hating yourself. There's actually a way, and I know the way to living in a place where you fall in love with yourself and you have full confidence in who you are right now. It's fine to want to aspire and to grow. I'm all about growing. But you can't grow from a place of hatred, insecurity, jealousy, and you can't grow from a place of negative emotions. You don't grow. You actually just make the issue worse. So
That makes sense.
that was, again, I answer questions in a very long way, always.
Perfect. Also, and I see a little girl hiding and eating.
Mm.
So I will say also that's part. It's not just only when nobody is around, you take those moments to eat it. That's mean you hit. You know that I.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, for sure. Only eating when you're alone or at night, really binging at night. That's not a healthy relationship to food. You have to actually, if you're someone that like is eating healthy the whole day and then at night you're like going to town, you're trying to comfort yourself, you're trying to fill a void, you're trying to do something there. And yeah, just like you said, people that hide their food, um,
Yeah,
that's unhealthy. That's an issue.
I remember this. I never shared this on social media, but it need to be out. I remember when I was competing for the bodybuilding competition. I was during my prep, and I have
Right.
4 weeks left to be on the stage, and I was already, cut and all the fat going. I was supposedly where I need to be good, right? And the point. I remember I was over the control. My mind was crazy, and I was craving so badly a cheeseburger from McDonald's. And I want a cheeseburger. I want a cheeseburger. I took my car. I drove to McDonald's. I get the cheeseburger, fries. I went to my basement and I start crying while I eating.
Wow.
Feeling so sad, insecure. It's funny for me right now because I just laughing now how was the experience, but in the moment I was so frustrated. I was like, I would put everything on the trash. My body will explode because this cheeseburger and the fries. Anyway, what I learned, it was like I was caused a lot of issues mentally and connecting my mind with my body, creating that eater disorder. I would say just in that moment because I was dropped my calories a lot. I was not eating carbs at a lot. I was eating carbs, but healthy carbs, but not enough to give me energy. So it take me to out the control and thinking
Yeah.
in the burger when I was eating my basement, I was and crying. I was thinking like I lost, I lost. But I mean, it was one experience. What I'm saying here is maybe somebody thinking I'm good. I don't have any problem around food. But if you have something similar to this, just pay attention. It's nothing crazy. It's something like everybody has different levels the relationship about food, more or less. I've been there, but it was not crazy. I enjoy my food right now, but it's a long process. Okay, Jen,
Hmm.
let's go to the end and explain us how you heal. Where
Mm.
took you from there to where you are right now? You are happy. You say you love yourself. You love your body. How you did this? Who helped you? How you did this?
Well, you really want the real answer, you'll have to hire me. No, I'm kidding. Well, I the very first step is the decision. Fat. It's just plain and simple. It's a decision that you don't want to be that way anymore. I was like, I don't want to live this way anymore. I'm not going to be able to live my life. I'm not going to be able to have a long life. I'm not going to be able to have a beautiful life if this is how I behave, if this is how I think and act and feel. And so at the time, um, I had a best friend at the time, and she um, kind of told me that, if I didn't, that she can't be friends with me anymore because of this. It was really affecting her. in a negative way. And that really struck a chord in me too. That really like uh, lit up that like I have a problem, you know? And so from then, and also realizing I didn't want to be this way anymore, like I was like, oh, if I don't eat food, like you know, my lowest weight was 97 pounds, and I was like told I was about to be hospitalized. And I was like, if I don't eat, if I don't change this, I'm not going to be able to have the dance career, not gonna be able to be a dancer. I won't have strength to dance. I won't be happy. And so again, it goes back to like really simply, but like clearly, like I made a decision to change. I was like, I don't want to be this way. And that decision was very crucial. I remember it like it was yesterday. And that was the catalyst for doing the next steps. So initially, I did go to a therapist because that's kind of what everyone in my inner circle or like my support system believed would be the answer. um, I will say I don't think that's really what brought me change. It definitely was moment where I feel like I remember being in the therapist office and kind of just like not really being there, like not really being present. Um, like it's uncomfortable. I don't really like therapy. Like I believe in it if you really need it. Like I do believe. I mean, I don't want to like. I know people have really had great experiences. I'm not saying you can't. I think I felt like so clinical. It felt so clinical and like it. You know, I did share. It's not that I didn't feel comfortable sharing with her. I just don't know. Like it was so much about me opening up and me getting out what my thoughts are, which is really important, and that is a crucial step. But I feel not so much guidance was given back. Like I felt like I would be sharing so much and she would say some things and have me realize some things. But okay, so I'm now realizing why I did this. I'm realizing like what's wrong, but then I'm like, I need to know what to do with that, how to implement this now, how to make it the new thing. But so I did go to therapy first for I think almost a year, maybe a little less. Um, then I went away to a ballet boarding school, and the problem just like continued. No, it wasn't like it definitely no rise is nice and straight. It was like so when I went away to ballet boarding school, I ended up gaining a lot of weight back because I had stopped the physical um the physical act of being anorexic, bulimic, and binging. I was like now actually eating food, and so I did gain weight really quickly. Um, and then at the ballet boarding school, the teachers brought me, or like the directors brought me into their office, and basically to say like, "Oh, you know, we accepted you when you were much thinner. Like you've gained a lot of weight, and like you need to lose weight." And so that was a really hard moment for me because for so many years, everyone's telling me to gain weight, gain weight, gain weight. And then now they're telling me to lose weight. And I just was like, and so I started to have bad habits again. And then this continued. Yeah. So this continued for years. I went to another, after that high school, I went to privately train in Atlanta, Georgia, because I didn't want to go to college. I thought I was going to get a dance job right away. And I went to privately train for a year. My parents let me do a gap year because I was like a year younger for my grade. So it was like, oh, if you do a gap year and you go back to college, you'll be the normal age. And there too at the private training, I was told that I was too big. I needed to lose weight. She said it in front of my mom as well, and my mom like agreed, like or not agreed, was like, okay, I get it, like because again, with the dance world, you do need to look a certain way, and I wasn't my thinnest, and I wasn't like a stick like then anymore. But it was harder for me to lose weight because I didn't want to fully be anorexic. I was trying like my hardest to like eat a healthy diet, but I had messed up my metabolism so much that it was really hard to figure out exercise wise what I needed to do, food wise, how much food I needed to intake. And I wasn't very knowledgeable on as much of the nutrition that I am now. So fast forwarding to the actual like more recovery. So again, the initial was the years ago when I was like, I need to change. I don't want to be this way anymore. But then there was a lot of years of struggle, a lot of years of still struggling. Then I would say when I was able to be more on like a steady rise was I just got super into food, like and understanding food, like knowing like what is in food, nutrients, it's fuel, it gives us life, like how it fuels me, it's medicine, like and I started and I also was about 7 years ago I turned vegetarian and vegan, but I can't say I'm fully vegan because I eat eggs sometimes, so I'm not vegan, but whatever, I'm pretty much but really changing my relationship to food, like knowing that it's good, it's healthy, it's amazing, it gives you life, and it's medicine, and it's so natural, and it does amazing things for your body. And so I researched so much. I did so many courses on food and nutrition, and learning a lot about food is how it, like, I changed my relationship to not thinking it's this horrible thing, and not being afraid of it, and not being scared of food, and continually connecting and changing my beliefs and the story that I tell myself about food. And you have to rewrite your memories. You have to rewrite your stories and your beliefs of what you tell yourself something is. I used to say the stories to tell myself about food is that it's horrible, it's going to make me fat, and I shouldn't be doing it. Now I'm like, no, I need this fuel. It's going to make me grow muscle. That wasn't English, but make me build muscle. It's going to strengthen my immune system. It's going to help my skin, help my hair, help my energy, help my brain focus. Like, it does all these things. Food is like so magical and beautiful. And so I think when I started to, that was one process. The other process was, there's nothing wrong with wanting to look a certain way. And I do want to get that out there because, if you want to be fit, and that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be like, I used to want to look like unhealthy. Like, that's because I was so messed up in my head. But I wanted when people told me that like I looked unhealthy, like it made me excited, because I was like, oh my God, I'm that skinny. Like, someone thinks I look unhealthy. Like, wow, like that's so horrible. So also when I started to get really into cross training, so with dance, obviously dancing, but then super into like I love every type of working out. I do Pilates, kickboxing, running, HIIT, TUT, plyometrics. I made my own type of workout. I love everything, lifting weights, like, and so just cross training, like really doing and getting super into my body, and how, again, I'm working out because I love myself, not because I hate myself, not because I'm mad I don't look a certain way, but it's all about like who I wanted to become. I started to focus on who I wanted to become, right? And like, who does the person I want to become, how do they think and act and feel? And if I have a goal, I have certain requirements that I have to do to reach that goal. So if you want to, like, again, to be a professional dancer, there's certain requirements. You got to be a certain way. If you want to be a professional athlete, you got to have certain requirements to reach that goal. And so I wanted to reach the goal of being the happiest, healthiest, fittest person that I could be, and feeling whole. And so I had to do things. I had to change the way that I was acting. I had to change the way that I was feeling. I had to change my stories and my beliefs and my memories. And really interesting thing about memories, because I'm also getting even deeper into that right now in my own personal studies, is, when you remember something, you never remember it as the full truth of what actually happened. You remember about 50%, 50 to 70% of what actually happened. And then the more you remember it, remember it and play through it in your mind, you actually continually distort the original memory. And and you can change your memories. You can change how you remember a moment to maybe not be such a horrible one, to maybe see and remember it as a moment where it was positive, whether it hurt you, but it was a positive moment, it was a life-changing moment. So that's just another thing about memories. But really, I was able to put in place and create a really clear strategic plan of how I got from point A to point B. And yes, I will say, technically I did it all by myself, but I used a lot of information. I study all the time, and I still do, because if you're not continually working on yourself, you'll eventually fall back into old habits. And so every single day I have about 2 to 3 hours dedicated to my own self-development and self-regulation and encouragement and who I want to become. But I think, again, if I were to like make it clear, chop it up, is like there needs to be a decision. There needs to be a moment, a clear moment, like, and you know what it is. Someone you don't, so that doesn't, you don't have to like put it on or fake it. There needs to be a decision that you don't want to be this way, that you want to change. And then that decision, you need to know who you want to become. And then the intensity that you focus on those things, and that how much time you dedicate and self-regulate, like when things are the old self and when things are the new self. And the more you consistently adhere to this and pay attention to when maybe you're falling back, when you have a negative thought about food or your body, knowing that that's the old self talking, that's not who you want to be, that's not who you want to become. And continue asking yourself, who do I want to become? What is the greatest expression of myself today? How do I get there? So I know that's a really vague kind of because there's just so much to it and it's super hard. And for me to say that I like don't have moments where I still feel insecure, that's lying. Like, of course I do have days where like you know, maybe I'm not like looking as toned as I normally do. Does it cripple me? Do I have panic attacks? Does it ruin my entire day? No, not anymore. There's a moment I'm like, all right, like you did eat all those French fries this weekend. I love French fries. And so, okay, we lost a little tone, but it's literally like, this is the conversation in my head. It's like such a friendly, like, okay, because your body's going to fluctuate. Like, we're going to indulge and we're going to have moments and times in our lives and like where it does go up and down. There's nothing wrong with that. That's natural. You literally lose and gain 3 to 5 pounds every single day, water weight. Like, so, but yeah, but it's now again, that gap, that's actually really important that I mentioned. So when something bad happens to you or something negative happens in your life, how long do you stay in that mood for? Is it 20 minutes? Does it ruin your entire day? Does it go for 3 days? Does it go for a week? Is it now a month? How long is your down moment? How long do you stay down for?
Days,
And
months.
that's really, yeah,
Yeah.
but that's really a really good way to know your growth, actually. Like, how long do you let yourself suffer and sit through a negative emotion? Because these negative emotions we're addicted to them. They're familiar to us, whatever they are. There's many negative emotions, I'm going to try to list them, but now my brain just went blank. But like insecurity, jealousy, anxiety, fear, worry, doubt, blah, 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 blah. There's one that is like innately in each person's mind, in each person's life, that we are familiar with. It like literally feels better to feel that way than to feel joy. And so when life happens, because life does happen, negative or situations, struggles come up all the time. How long do you stay down? What's your recovery time like? What do you do on the other side of that? Who are you after that? So I think, again, that's like really a huge key for me. Like I said, of course I have days, they're not very often anymore. But there's some moments I can think of lately here and there where I was like, yeah, okay, you lost a little bit of your abs. That would have killed me years ago. I would have I would have been I would have like hysterically cried, probably had a panic attack, I would get so angry. I had so much anger inside of me. Like it would have ruined like a whole month for me probably. Instead of like, I had a moment, okay, all right, and then it's kind of gone. So
I love it. I love it. And you touch one important thing when I ask you how was your transition and how you heal this situation is the first step is you recognize that you have a problem and you make action. The problem is when the ladies out there has this situation, but they don't recognize that problem. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is here, two important things you touch, I love it, is recognize that you have a problem, make an action,
mhm,
ask for help, do whatever you need. And then another thing I value a lot is that you still have the moments but you have more mental control. And I think
Mm-hmm.
your mind is so powerful in those moments that you say, I have this situation, but it took me like 20 minutes, or I do something else. You find the way how to heal the thing in the moment, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And definitely, I do want to say, because I didn't really mention this, definitely seek help. Like, and it doesn't need to be, again, from a therapist. There's many people that handle these types of situations. But if you don't know what to do at all, you want to change and you have no clue what to do, I would seek mentorship, because you want someone that, is where you want to be. You want to get help from someone that's where you want to be.
yeah.
So, if you don't know how to do it on your own, and you don't have to, again, I don't want to say I self did it, because I researched so much. I used all the information out there. And so it wasn't all my ideas. Did I apply them to myself? Yes. But like, I did seek help in a different form than some, but definitely, yeah, it's what you said. Just wanted to touch that, say that.
All right. Let's wrap this video. I want to ask you one more question. And also, we ask you to do a dynamic that I like. And I see this a lot on the podcast and other videos that I will make.
Okay.
I will give you a phrase or word, and you give me one word. That's it. Whatever comes to your mind the first, and you give me the one word. But first, I have
Okay.
a question. What is mean for you to love your body?
Ooh. I think to love my body is to love it in all forms, even when I feel a little not as toned, or when I just at any time. To love your body is to love it at any single moment that your body is. Again, when you're on your period, for us ladies, when we are a little more bloated, love your body still. When you, maybe if you're someone that likes to work out and you're injured, still love your body. Don't get mad at your body that you have to take a rest. Like, it's to love your body at its darkest, most not shiny times. That's to really love your body. That's to really love yourself at your worst moments. If you still love yourself at your worst, then you love yourself.
Love it. I love it. Okay. Here you go. Ready?
Yes.
Okay. Health coach.
Mentor. I just say one word.
Just one word.
Okay.
Health coach. Okay, we lose you. Say it again.
You lost.
Yeah, I hear you now. Okay.
Oh,
Say me.
mentor. I said mentor.
Apple pie.
Crust.
Christmas.
Christmas tree.
Family.
A lot.
Okay. One more. Let me see. I have in my mind. It's going. Oh my God. Okay. Education.
I just want to say freedom. I don't know why.
Yay! It's good. It's good. Love it. Jenna, let's
I'm like,
see you here. Thank you for joining.
okay.
It was so good to have you, and hopefully a lot of ladies watching this video, um, you know, try to find the help. They can recognize their problem, take action, and love their body. What else you want to say goodbye?
No, thank you for having me. This was super fun. And yeah, I think, again, last thing, you don't have to live a miserable, horrible life. Life is magical, it's remarkable, it's mystical, it's miracles, it's incredible, it's blissful, it's whole, it's grateful, it's happy, and you can live a life that way. So
And it's up and downs.
definitely up and downs, but your baseline doesn't have to be negative. Your baseline can be all the amazing things I said. So
Yeah, but it's really interesting how we can, manage our life. If it's up and downs,
yeah.
how we can manage the downs, and also how we can take advantage of the ups.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. Love you.
Okay, thank you. Love you too.
Bye-bye.